Hi, friends. So I wanted to jump on here because the guidance has given me a message. Um, and I've known these things separately, and they just put it together so eloquently. And this came up recently with a client. And in my own personal life. So I would just love to to share this, especially for the fellow intuitives, those that feel they are sensitive, those that may be picking up on things. There's a lot of shifting in terms of relationships, in terms of the way we are perceiving the world and perceiving the things around us. And so I would like to give this frame of reference. And like I said, the guidance gave it to me in such an eloquent way that I would love to share it. So I'm looking down at my notebook right now, at my notes, but basically, as someone who is sensitive, as someone who picks up on energies or is empathic, or I prefer the word intuitive, empath, sometimes can imply like a lack of boundaries. So, as someone who is intuitive, as someone who is sensitive to energies, what they explained to me and what I explained to a client the other day is that it's important to understand that yes, you are likely picking up on the energy that exists in, let's say, a relationship or in a situation accurately. It is likely, if you are energetically sensitive and you have built this muscle to a certain point, or if you have been using it as a survival mechanism for X amount of years of your life, it is likely that you are picking up accurately on the energy that is there. But that does not mean that our interpretation of that energy is always as accurate. And I say this because when we interpret something, especially something that has to do with our own life, we filter it through our own lens. So we filter it through our own wounds, through our own lens of the world. And so every experience, every belief that you have, every domestication that you've had in your early life, every every story that you tell yourself about yourself or about the world, everything you identify with creates and changes the color and the thickness of the lens through which you see the world. So you can almost imagine this as if you're wearing glasses, or what's that, like these, but as if you're wearing glasses. And so every belief or wound you have changes the thickness and the color of the glasses through which you see the world. As an intuitive and an empath, you may be able to see more accurately than someone else that is not as intuitive or sensitive or aware. Or you might be able to read someone else's situation better. Like, for example, it's much easier for me to read accurately and unbiased the energy of like my clients and all of that because it's not my stuff. And so it doesn't have to do with me. So like what my mentor always says is that you can't see your own life because it's right here. And I like to use the explanation of the filter, the glasses. So I'm not looking at their life through my glasses, through my lens, because it has nothing to do with me. I don't take it personally. It doesn't engage my wounds or my lens. It doesn't activate my glasses through which I see the world because it's somebody else, because I'm not taking it personally, if that makes sense. So the more you clear your own stuff, the more you clear your own wounds, your own beliefs, your own limitations, basically you can see it like the more you clear the stuff that's stuck in those glasses, in your glasses, the more accurately and unbiasedly you will see the world in general. So that includes for others and that includes for yourself. Of course, as humans, we're not going to heal everything. If you're still here, you probably still have things to work on. You still have wounds or lessons to learn or emotional energy that you're working through or whatever. So, but decreasing it to a certain point is important. And then the other thing is the example that they gave me, which is new to me, is imagine the difference between somebody who doesn't know that they're wearing the glasses. So imagine that they may see the world as red or blue, as unsafe or as shameful. And so they won't know that they're seeing these things through their own lens. They won't see that they are interpreting some of these things through their own stuff, let's say, or that even though they may accurately be seen, I mean, because they're wearing glasses, so they're seeing something that's in front of them, but they don't realize that it's tainted or colored or it looks different because they're filtering it through their own stuff, and they're unaware that this filter, these glasses even exist. So that's one. Imagine that scenario versus someone who is aware that they're wearing their glasses. And this is what I mean by doing the emotional work and being aware of our own wounds, is imagine someone who's aware that they're wearing those glasses, that they're wearing a filter through which they see the world. And so they're better able to identify, oh, when I see this thing, it looks like this because of my blue glasses. Or, oh, when this happens, it looks or feels like this to me because of my own abandonment wounds. We're able to realize, one, not take everything in the world personally, and realize that part of this interpretation has to do with us. There are things that happen in the world that we interpret in a different way because of our own unique world experience, our own wounds, our own filter, our own glasses. We see the world differently because of that. So imagine the difference between someone who has no idea they're wearing these glasses versus someone that is aware that they're wearing their glasses. It doesn't mean that they still won't see things differently, but they'll have an awareness that they are seeing things through the lens. So that's a huge, huge difference if you really think about it. And so what they go into this is it's important that we acknowledge and take responsibility for our half of the things. For example, yes, there are systematic and institutional problems that create limitations, but what about our individual continued participation in those systematic or institutional limitations? What about our participation in limiting ourselves? And what about our participation in giving up our own power to an outside entity or system or belief system or culture? That's our half of the things. So what they go into here is Dominic Ruiz, who is one of my favorites. So if you haven't read The Four Agreements or The Mastery of Love and you're looking to, supercharge your healing journey or your self-awareness journey, I have a tattoo on my leg for the Four Agreements, so if that tells you anything. So what Dominic Ruiz says, who wrote the Four Agreements, he says that every relationship is two halves. So it's two halves of a whole, and you're only responsible for your half of the thing. So this is true for everything from government, your relationship with government, your relationship with your friends, with your family, with your loved ones, with your cat, with your dog, with your whatever. Every relationship is two halves of a whole, and so you're only responsible for your half. If you start trying to be responsible for someone else's half, your half doesn't get taken care of. Nobody's healing or taking care of your half. Or if you are expecting the other person, the other half of this relationship to take care of and be responsible for your half, they can't do it because it's your half. They can't fix or do things in the way that you need them. Like as a friend said, and I love this expression, is you are the expert in your life. And so no one else can take care of your half for you, especially in the way that you need it. You're the only one that knows how. So this includes even our relationships with systems, with institutions, with larger entities, or even with cultures, because cultures has such an influence on our glasses, our perception of the world. It's basically our worldview. It's our lens through which we see the world in a lot of ways. So if we're not taking care of our half, or if we are waiting for someone else to take care of our half, of course the relationship will be imbalanced. Of course there will be a lack of health or a lack of thriving or a lack of evolution because we're not doing our half of the things. We can easily fall into a victim mentality with this when we are not taking care of our half. Or we can become a chronic complainer of life. So these are all the guidance's words. And so it's, like I said, once again, it's so beautiful and eloquent the way they put it together, because what I've also been, when dancing around and what keeps coming up in everybody I'm talking to as we're processing the state of the world, and like, what can I do? What should I be doing? Should I be doing more? Should I be doing less? Like, is it okay for me to take a break? Like, is that too selfish? Like, if I'm not constantly doing everything for all of these other causes, da da da. And so this is beautiful the way this lined up, because what they've also told me is the collective world, the collective experience, the collective everything is made of me. Okay. The collective is made up of a collection of worlds. And so if you are not taking responsibility to heal and to create light within your own unique and personal world within your own, if that means your family or your community or your workspace or whatever it is that you see your world as, or it's your gym or it's your band or it's whatever, if you are not taking responsibility to create light within your world, or even just your individual world, your half of your relationship with all things, how can we expect to heal the collective? The collective is made of a collection of worlds, of experiences, of dreams. And this is the same, Don McGilroy's once again, in his books, he talks about the dream of society is made up of like all the small dreams come together to create the larger dream of society. And so this is true. This is the exact same thing, just different words. So you're not responsible for healing the world. First of all, it's impossible in that sense. And second of all, it's the idea that you have to take on the pressures of the world is so paralyzing. It's paralyzing, and it's not your job. Your job, you are stationed where you are as a soul because your job is to take care of your unique world, your individual world. And by taking care of your world, injecting healing and light and love and forgiveness and whatever else needs to go in there, compassion, activating this open heart center within your own world, that's your job. And if you can take care of your world, that will enable other people to better take care of their world. It will create a better world. There are statistics. You can look at Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza, his book, Becoming Supernatural, has all of this empirical studies and statistics in there, including there's things like peace gatherings that positively influence things like crime rates. And so another thing where they've done, like, you can positively influence the energy and the frequency of someone across the planet just by thinking about them. Everything is energetics. So imagine if you can see the world as like all of these small bubbles within it. So the larger bubble is made up of all these small bubbles. And let's say that half the bubbles are like gray, like afraid, and like half the bubbles are like pink, like love, Imagine if half of those gray bubbles started taking care of their own bubbles and evolved them to love, evolved them to pink, evolved them to this higher frequency. What would the collective, the overarching bubble look like? And so that's the thing. You're not here to change the whole world. You're here to change your own world. There's all of those, like the phrases of, you need to be the change that you'd like to see in the world. And that is 100% true. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. So anyways, it's just so eloquent the way they said it. And so this includes becoming aware of your own glasses through which you see the world, your own filter, your own lens, recognizing that there are certain experiences, beliefs, stories you tell yourself, the labels you have identified and limited yourself with have changed the color and the thickness through which you see the world through these lenses. So becoming aware of your lens is huge, and that will help you to heal your individual world. You are stationed within your family, within your friend group, within your gym, within your workplace. You are stationed as a soul for a reason. You are stationed where you are for a reason, and that is your job. That is your role in the situation. One person alone cannot pull together the world, cannot bring together the opposing sides. It's just impossible. And it's also not what we're here for, because you're taking responsibility for someone else's half at that point. You're not like watering your own garden. You're trying to water the neighbor's garden to make sure that they still have a garden. Like, it doesn't work that way. You have to water your own garden to allow people to operate within their personal power. They have to water their garden. And then as a collective, as a world garden, what would the difference be? I can't reach over the fence and try to water my neighbor's garden. It just doesn't work that way. So becoming aware of your own stuff, recognizing that there are certain things that we filter through our own lens that we may not, just because we're picking up on an energy or a situation doesn't mean we're always accurately analyzing or interpreting that situation. And then becoming aware that we are wearing these glasses and doing the work to heal our own world, because the collective is made of a collection of worlds, including our own. So thank you so much, my friends. Be well. I will be launching the pre-launch of my Carousel online membership, which will include a lot more, like a lot more stuff, a lot more individual stuff, action things like rituals, meditations. All of this is kind of, it will just be more in depth. So if you're interested, the pre-launch will be coming out soon. Once again, my name is Caroline from Carousel, and I thank you again for all of your support. Be well, my friends.